President.
Water.
Oh, we've got everything.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Council, as well, the administration. It's nice to see everybody together. Mr. President, members of Council, Mr. Controller, citizens of Pittsburgh, I am pleased to be here with you today to present the proposed operating and capital budgets for 2020 as I share our vision for our city in the coming year. As I prepare to enter my 7th year as mayor, I want to share some of the strategic investments that we've made and many of the improvements that we have been able to do together. Our budget investments reflect what has become the guiding force of our administration, our P4 principles: investing in our people, providing them the best place to live, doing our part to improve our planet, and maximizing our performance in spending. We have made great progress in restructuring government, improving the delivery of crucial services, and ensuring our financial stability. But there's always room for improvement, and Pittsburgh deserves the very best, and I'm happy to share some of the priorities going forward. Investment in our citizens is crucial. Today, we recognize that our people are our greatest capital. Opening doors of opportunity to all our residents has the ripple effect of raising our entire city. In partnership with Reverend Ricky Burgess, our 2019 Summer Jobs Program, Learn and Earn, found jobs for over 2,000 young children in Pittsburgh and the surrounding region. That's right, Councilman, I don't forget who brought that idea to Pittsburgh. This was the largest number served to date. It is our goal to see this number increase each year until we have found meaningful and educational employment opportunities for every child in our city. These investments in our youth, coupled with continued investments in programs such as Snow Angels and City Cuts for our vulnerable, our veterans, and our elderly residents. Through our partnership with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, we are providing the children of our city with the opportunity to receive a free book every month until their 5th birthday. This year, we have distributed over 11,000 books to some 2,400 children. Our goal in the coming year is to surpass 20,000 books delivered to our kids. Through our innovative Rec to Tech program, we're bridging the technology gap for Pittsburgh's youth, creating greater opportunity for growth and learning throughout our recreation centers. Since my last address, we have hired the city's first digital equity and inclusion coordinator, Max Dennison, to implement the program. Since the new hire, Rec to Tech has won a national grant in recognition of this work to help renovate the long-neglected Jefferson Recreation Center on the north side to be the first completely STEM-capable center, and has launched a coding class and an artificial intelligence class in 2 other rec centers. We've seen the excitement for these programs firsthand. Just take a look at this Facebook post from a mother whose young son is just as excited about coding as football. This year, we created the Office of Equity and promoted Majestic Lane to serve as the city's first Chief Equity Officer. We are currently part of a Living Cities Accelerator on equitable contracting that will be producing new annual purchasing plans to allow MWBEs to plan ahead for engagement with the city. Additionally, we have joined with the Government Alliance on Race and Equity, GAR, and are transforming the way each department approaches their daily delivery of services through a lens of equity. That lens has already had a transformative effect on how we operate. This budget proposal revamps the Equal Opportunity Review Commission under a new office, the Office of Business Diversity. In partnership with Councilman Lavelle, we will be coming to council with legislation to transform this office's operations in the next few weeks. Investments in our people do not just come from programs, but the third places, not where you work, not where you live, but where you come to play and enjoy life. For so many across our city and beyond, these are our parks, recreation centers, pools, and playgrounds. Pittsburgh's parks are one of our greatest third places. We face a $400 million backlog in underfunding of our neighborhood parks that we would never be able to address on our own. I want to thank the voters of Pittsburgh for supporting the parks referendum last week. Together, we will use this new funding to improve our parks, playgrounds, and recreation centers using new metrics that value equity, stormwater reduction, physical condition, and more. Investments in our planet. Advancing our city means we must increase our commitment to sustainability of our planet. We have seen countless climate change issues plague our city. We spent much of 2019 battling severe landslides and flooding. In 2020, we must maintain our preparedness for those issues. Climate change remains the greatest threat of our lifetime, and these issues are not expected to subside or to slow down. This year, we saw Pittsburgh begin to meet those challenges head on. We became the second city in the United States after New York to adopt the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We intend to prove that these 17 goals can stimulate the economy while putting the needs of our planet and environment at the forefront. These principles also will be apparent in our fleet operations. 2020 will see the purchase of the first ever hybrid police vehicles as we work to replace our aging fleet. Many of the vehicles we provide our employees for their day-to-day work have long outlived their useful lifespans. We will also continue to invest in electric vehicles for PLI and DOMI, reducing our fuel usage, an initiative championed by Councilwoman Erica Strasburger in last year's budget. We will also be installing new EV charging stations around the city that will be available for usage by both city employees and the general public. Throughout 2020, we will be advancing our goal of reducing the city's greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by 2030. These efforts will include facility improvements, lighting efficiency, and energy purchasing. This year, I will continue to push for our pension funds to divest from fossil fuel companies, for-profit prisons, and gun manufacturers. Our budget reflects our moral priorities, and these industries should not profit from our workforce's dollars. Investing in place. When it comes to caring for our place, we've showed continued commitment to our roads, bridges, and public safety facilities. Pittsburgh is playing catch-up on decades of disinvestment. The 2020 budget proposes a continued significant level of paving, totaling over $16 million. This amount is nearly double the level seen in years prior. New regulations and advanced planning by the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure will also ensure we are coordinating our utility work. Too often we'd see a freshly paved road torn up by utilities for work, and these efforts will minimize this practice to ensure the city and its residents have a greater return on our paving projects. Our facilities will also see increased spending in the coming year. 2020 will see more than quadruple the investments in parks, recreation, and senior centers, and public safety facilities than when I took office. Over $10 million in public facility spending will provide our city's workforce with quality living and work conditions. In 2020 alone, we will spend 3 times the amount on public safety facilities than from 2011 through 2015 combined. Specifically, public safety will see continued progress on 3 major facility projects. In District 2, the former Thaddeus Stevens School next to Townsend Park will be converted into the Special Deployment Division. This project will not only provide the division much needed additional space, it will breathe new life into a currently vacant school building in the heart of the West End. Across town in the East End, we are developing our new public safety training center. When finished, this state-of-the-art facility will allow Pittsburgh Police, Bureau of Fire, and Bureau of Emergency Medical Services to receive the best training possible. This site could also allow Pittsburgh to serve as the regional center of public safety, police, fire, and EMS training, creating greater equity and best practices across our area. Additionally, we are in the process of relocating Zone 5 Station from its current home on Washington Boulevard back to its original home in the heart of East Liberty, with direct access to the community that it serves. In the past year, we have seen incredible success at the Northview Heights Police Substation. Their officers embedded in this community are creating lasting relationships that have already been successful in deterring crime. One such officer was Calvin Hall. Officer Hall took the rare step of advocating for his placement at this then experimental substation. His passion for making a difference in his community was potent and impacted so many of his fellow officers. Officer Hall lived by his daily motto, "Time for me to make a difference." Please join me in a brief moment of silence as we remember not only the man, but the ideals that he upheld. Thank you. I'm very pleased, let me try that again. I'm very pleased to announce that in the spirit of that success, we will launch 3 new substations with a dedicated team of officers in 2020. Homewood, downtown, and the South Side will see the kind of targeted, community-oriented engagement that we know will be successful. Public safety staffing. These substations are made possible by the continued bolstering of public safety staffing numbers as a whole. In the Bureau of Police for over a decade, we have intentionally not honored our commitment of reaching the full staffing approved by the budget. And after years of hovering just over 800, as of today, we stand at 985 officers and recruits in the Bureau of Police, compared to 857 officers on the day that I took office. This budget anticipates 3 full recruit classes in 2020. These new recruits will, for the first time, be supported by much-needed technology upgrades. We're making multi-million-dollar investments in new state-of-the-art body cameras. These tools not only increase the officer's safety, they reinforce levels of accountability and transparency. These steps build trust with members of the community they protect and serve. The Pittsburgh Bureau of Fire will continue to see a fully staffed bureau. After years of intentional understaffing, we are committed to maintaining full staffing levels. The Bureau of Emergency Medical Services continues to see the payoff of the reinstitution of the EMT program. Not only does this program create more opportunity to create the next generation of public safety personnel, it reduces our reliance on suburban mutual aid calls. In 1 year, we have already seen a 50% reduction in mutual aid calls. Our capital budget. Across the city, we will see $108 million spread out on over 150 neighborhood projects in all 9 council districts. This year's capital budget follows our previously approved plan to borrow $50 million in addition to PAYGO funding in our continued record levels of grant dollars from outside partners. I want to highlight just a few of the projects we will advance this year by council district. In District 1, we'll see the long-awaited 2-way traffic conversion of Allegheny Circle. This is not only the reconnecting of a neighborhood, it's the correction of the urban renewal failures of the past. In District 2, has seen almost $1 million in restorative work done on Grandview Avenue. This area is not only a national attraction for tourists who visit our city, it's the lifeblood of so many local businesses in the community, and it has not seen a major investment in key infrastructure since the 1980s. The 2020 budget will see this investment double alongside our state and federal partners to protect this gem. In District 3, we'll see the long-needed investments in the historic Oliver Bathhouse. This investment in the city's only indoor pool joins the significant improvements recently made at the Southside Market House. Providing these amenities not only improves the quality of life for our seniors, it invests in the very character of this historic neighborhood. These types of investments support our goal of creating holistic wellness programs for our seniors. This year, the Department of Parks and Recreation saw the hiring of Luann Horan as the city's first Assistant Director of Senior Programs in the Department of Parks and Rec, dedicated to creating more comprehensive physical, emotional, and creative programming for our seniors. The history and uniqueness of these two special buildings and the new approach to wellness that our seniors will receive is a part of what makes the South Side such a special neighborhood. District 4 will see work done to improve Broadway Avenue and Beachview, including the construction of a new plaza. The public investment made on this avenue this year has led to the opening of a new coffee shop, new restaurants, and a renewed high level of interest in private investment. Supporting small local businesses is critical to the growth of this community. Together with the Pittsburgh Hispanic Development Corporation, we will soon celebrate the ribbon cutting on a new business incubator space above the city's senior center. In District 5, we'll see the long-awaited reconstruction of the Schenley Parks Division, ensuring our public works crews can adequately provide much-needed services to our residents. The new Schenley building and the new Division 4 will be the first city buildings to reach net zero certification. This confirms our commitment to the net zero standards for all major renovation and new construction projects for city facilities. District 6 will see the long-needed improvements made to the Robert E. Williams building in the Hill District and the Jefferson Recreation Center in the North Side. These two buildings serve as the heart of the neighborhoods they serve by hosting recreation and educational opportunities, after-school programming, and community gathering spaces. These facilities, along with recreation centers across the city, will be at the center of our renewed focus on opportunities for young people, including mentorship, workforce development, and STEAM education. To lead that effort, Catherine Vargas has joined the administration as the city's first Assistant Director of Community Recreation, Youth, and Families in the Department of Parks and Rec, focused entirely on youth programming. District 7 will see significant investments in beloved Highland Park. This includes the restoration of the historic pedestrian tunnel, the complete rebuild of the popular Super Playground, and the restorative work by PWSA on the iconic Central Reservoir Walk. With the passing of the new Parks Initiative, we'll be able to deliver projects like these every year in the neighborhoods across our city. District 8 will see numerous intersections reconstructed as part of our commitment to Vision Zero. Traffic calming, infrastructure, pedestrian signal upgrades, ADA improvements, and public transit facility upgrades all work together to ensure our roads are safe for all modes of transportation. District 9 will see dramatic improvements to Chadwick Park. This long neglected space was closed as a community recreation center in the mid-2000s. Since that time, it has seen better days. We are now taking the steps to provide proper amenities to children in this tight-knit community. This includes lighting for the football field and new basketball courts to support the sports programming at the park. Success on the field with quality conditions connects children with mentors in relationships that build success off the field. And finally, investment in performance. A large investment set to debut in 2020 will be the new home of many city services. After decades of disrepair, we will be investing in a new home for the offices currently located at the John P. Robin Civic Building on Ross Street. However, this new home is not just about space. It will become a one-stop shop for permits in Pittsburgh. For the past 6 years, we've been working to break down departmental silos. This new building will provide the physical space, allowing for a more productive and efficient level of interdepartmental cooperation. We're streamlining the difficult process of doing business in the city to create a better return for not only our residents, but businesses looking to grow. Improving our performance means improving our working relationship with our municipal authorities. A new cooperation agreement with PWSA will create a more clear working relationship to better serve the people of Pittsburgh and provide a world-class water system for the future. PWSA will continue to replace all lead lines across the city and advance their plan for a transformed treatment and distribution system. We will also work together to look worldwide for the best practices that we can bring to Pittsburgh. Working with Councilman Anthony Coghill this year has seen a record level of cooperation among PWSA, the city, and community partners to address neighborhood flooding issues. In 2020, we will double down on these efforts to protect residents, business owners, and our infrastructure from the devastating impacts of the rainiest years on record. We have continued to see dramatic change in the options available for residents of our housing authority. These are some amazing facts I wanted to share from the ribbon cutting on the second phase in Larimer. The first two phases of the Larimer Choice neighborhood saw a 63% increase in early learning. 66% of high school graduates are moving on to college. A 17% decrease in poverty. And 76 households returning to Larimer. This year work will begin on phases 3 and 4, as well as the development of the Larimer Green Park. We will also work with federal partners to look to expand the Choice program to other neighborhoods. Additionally, we will move forward with creating the nation's largest urban farm in our hilltop communities. This year, the URA will move forward with new leadership team and a new strategic vision that will focus on neighborhood investment in 21st century economic growth initiatives. The Catapult program is helping to support local and minority-owned startups that will benefit from the revitalization of our East Liberty neighborhood. Just this past week, I celebrated the first anniversary of the Gallery on Penn. We will expand this fantastic program to the Hill District and work to bring it citywide through continued partnership with the URA. I want to thank the URA Acting Director, Diamante Walker, for her leadership of the organization and her vision for this outstanding program. Additionally, we will work with the URA to reform citywide lot cleanups. By partnering with them to maintain city-owned lots, we will not only add efficiency, but also support small business growth and a workforce development component for neighborhood residents. Additionally, through an effort led by Councilwoman Teresa Cale Smith, today I'm announcing a new Clean and Lean team in the Department of Public Works to target privately owned lots that are abandoned and have created blight in our neighborhoods. So far in 2019, the URA has been able to use the dollars allocated by City Council and our government partners to invest more than $40 million in affordable housing initiatives through new rental construction, improvements to existing rental units, homeowner renovation programs, and helping Pittsburghers buy their first home. The Department of Permits, Licensing, and Inspection has also seen massive improvements in performance. I'm very proud to say that the online services via One Stop PGH launched this year with usage numbers growing month over month. These additions help the city keep pace with increased development and provide better services to residents and business owners. After decades of disinvestments, we will spend the millions needed to upgrade core network and IT infrastructure. Over the past several years, we have increased our funding in our physical infrastructure. Now it's time to match this investment in our critical IT infrastructure. These improvements are necessary to create the backbone to support key initiatives like Rec-to-Tech, Wi-Fi in city facilities, police bureau cameras, snow plow tracking, fire station alerting, and so very much more. City finances. After a dramatic fall prior to the city's entrance into Act 47, we have been working to responsibly grow our workforce to meet today's challenges. From PLI to DOMI to DPW and public safety, we have more needs than ever before, and it's imperative we work to create a competitive modern-day workforce. I am proud of the work that city employees do each and every day to make the city a great place to live, work, visit, and enjoy. Please join me in thanking all of them for their hard work throughout this year. The staffing levels change. The city continues to pursue cost mitigation strategies for health care and workers' compensation. We have slowed the rate of growth in healthcare costs by moving to a self-insured arrangement and increasing our employee wellness program, which also has mitigated cost increases for our employees. Through our commitment to workplace and employee safety, we have reduced the number of injuries, both those requiring medical attention and those that result in lost time. A city has a disproportionate share of its operating budget paying off debt, will struggle to deliver core services and fund priority programs and initiatives. The good news is that by exercising the financial discipline lessons learned through our time in Act 47, we have turned the tide, significantly reducing our debt service costs. In 2014, almost 20% of the total general fund, one out of every $5 we spent, were dedicated to debt service. This year, that number will be down to 9.22%. We have cut our debt spending in half. However, we continue to face significant infrastructure needs and must deal with the uncertainty of CDBG funds, which allow for targeted investment in our neighborhoods, yet continue to be reduced by Washington. As we develop the city's needs for the next decade, we have adopted national best practices to ensure we balance the needs of the city with appropriate debt obligations. This year, S&P raised the city's credit rating to AA-, the highest rating in living memory. This is a direct result of our commitment to those best practices. Though we have talked about legacy costs individually, it is important to see the overall financial impact of our efforts. As I've already mentioned, debt service payments are steady and workers' compensation costs also remain stable. Without these improvements, we would not have been able to increase contributions to the city's pension fund. Implementing a comprehensive solution to our pension funding has and will continue to be a priority for my administration. In 2020, the city will have doubled its contributions to the pension system compared to the beginning of my administration, and we will contribute over $200 million above the minimum municipal obligation over the next 5 years. Even with these record investments, the city remains in a difficult position. Any major market shifts will undo the progress we have made. The only way we can keep the promises made to our retirees and our current workforce, which we must do, is by working collaboratively with our state legislators and unions on comprehensive pension reform. We must all work together to avoid the temptation of overspending, overborrowing, and reducing our rainy day fund. Returning to the failed policies of the past that led to layoffs, facility closures is not an option. If we work together as we reposition Pittsburgh for the future, we can balance strong financial investments with prudent financial decisions. I want to take a moment to thank the entire staff of the Office of Management and Budget under the leadership of our new director, Kevin Paulus, as well as the Finance Department staff under the leadership of Director Margaret Lanier, for their hard work not only putting this budget together, but for their work year-round to keep the city's finances stable for the future. 1 PGH. We've spoken a lot this morning about the year ahead, but I want to take a moment to look into the future. We cannot continue to look to Harrisburg and Washington, D.C. and expect to find solutions to challenges such as universal pre-K, affordable housing, climate change, infrastructure, new urban mobility, and more. The only real solution to these challenges is by doubling down on the Pittsburgh model, one that is based on partnerships. We must join with organized labor, our foundations, our universities, and our hospitals and the business community to solve the challenges of the next 12 years. 1 PGH will provide the outcome-driven plan that will strengthen a city for all. We will be announcing details of the first phase of this transformative initiative in the coming weeks. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to address Council.